Hi guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you on a Technique Thursday to share with you the flowering sunburst technique. So, check it out. I cased this card off of one of the talented Stampin' Up! Designers. I don't know, they posted it on their Facebook page a couple of days ago. Maybe even more than that by now. But I loved this sunburst technique that they did in the background. And I wanted to show you how I did it with dun, 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 the Tulip Fields stamp set. And then I did use the bike from the Coordinating Windmill Fields dies. So really cool dies that go with it. And I love that cute little bike. So let's get started. I did learn some things in creating this sample card. So I've got some tips to share with you. Gotta get my workstation all set up. So I used So Saffron and Blushing Bride, both of them at second strength. So I have a basic white matte at 4 by 5.25. And then I have this template. So I started, I actually just, stamped it and cut one of these out, and that'll be helpful for when we go forth. What I did was I started by putting a dot where I wanted the starburst to convene. So roughly centered left to right, and maybe like 2/3 of the way up, not quite in the center. I wanted it to be a little more grounded north than center, so that's my justification there. And then because I am stamping at second strength, I took the flower stamp and we're going to stamp once and then stamp onto our paper, roughly lining the peak up to that midpoint dot that I created. On this one, I didn't have this template, so you can see my spacing isn't perfect. I didn't do too bad, but it's definitely not perfect. So I'm going to use the template to lay this in between, so now I have a little better gauge as to how far to space out each of my flower starbursts. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep stamping around. The other way you could do it if you don't want to make this template is just to alternate colors, but then you just have to clean your stamp off so often, which is not the biggest deal. Just I didn't want to do that. I can see here I didn't get all of that stamped off, but that is going to fall beneath my bike, so I'm not too worried about that there. And again, you don't need to worry 100% about how perfectly this all is lining up on that dot per se, because that too will end up under the bike, but it does just kind of help you ground your stamping. Now, let's see here. I don't think I stamped off yet. FYI, so much less stressful with the template. Okay, so last Blushing Bride here. I wish my workstation was a little bigger. Either I had a bigger foam mat or a bigger scrap paper or both. That's kind of what I'm fighting with right now. All right, then you are going to clean off your stamp and switch to your second color, which for this design is So Saffron. Now, you don't need your template anymore because you are just stamping in between. on these bottom ones, it is important that, like, I just got to the edge here. So you want your center line to be, or your center dot to not be too far up, otherwise your stamp's not going to be long enough to keep it on the sheet. Oops, like that. So this technique maybe takes some practicing, or maybe not. I mean, obviously it doesn't really matter exactly how it turns out because it's just going to be the background. It's just to make a really pretty, colorful, cheerful background. So I'm going to, let's see here, close this, bring it up to the view. So you'll see here, like I said, I missed down here. So what I could do is either turn my stamp around and just fill this little area in, or I think what I'm going to do is trim it down and put a second mat behind it. But that's the gist of how to create this. I did a lot better with the template than I did freehanding. See here, I didn't perfectly center between the two, but still looks pretty good, and I love how this pulls the whole card together. So then the next thing that I did was I took the bike die from the Windmill Fields dies, and where did I put that guy? Here it is. I die cut him out and then colored him with my blends. So I've got Soft Succulent Light. Then I have here dark gray granite that I'm going to color in the wheels. I didn't know, exactly what color I should grab for the wheels. I didn't know if like taking the light basic black would have been too heavy for this bright springy colored card. So that's why I chose the dark gray granite. I feel like the wheels could be a little darker, but that's okay. And then I couldn't find my Blushing Bride blends, so I grabbed Flirty Flamingo. Yeah, then you just color those in and adhere that onto just a square. It's not a die cut or anything. Where did I put that piece? Excuse me. Well, I don't intend to fully assemble the card anyways, so I just want to kind of walk you through the rest of the pieces that I used to pull this whole card together. I wanted it to be a birthday card, so I found the sentiment Happy Birthday and Sharing Sunshine. And the sentiment is actually a little longer than most of the banner dies that we have. So I almost lost hope. I made it to the end. I probably had about 4 or 5 more die sets to look through, and I saw this Eden dies, which I thought correlated perfectly with the feel of the card. So I grabbed that die and cut it out in Soft Succulent, stamped Happy Birthday from the Sharing Sunshine set in Evening Evergreen. Then tried to tie it all together with, on this rectangle that I cut out at, let's see here, 2 3/8 by 2 7/8. I grabbed my sponge dauber and my So Saffron and just sponged the edges of that square, which I really think helped tie it all together. So I really like that. And then I put dimensionals behind and dimensionals behind the banner as well. And I brought in a white linen thread bow. I want to figure out how to make these tails. I like the long tails, but I'd love for them to not be quite so straight. So I'm going to see if I can do some YouTube searching about how to maybe like curl that a little bit. And then I finished it off with some of the beautiful iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. which I think was just a nice way to finish it off. And you know what? I didn't Stella. I think I'm going to Stella the whole background. We'll see what I think about that. Let's do it right now. Might just be the perfect finishing touch. This obviously would be a better thing to do before you adhere it, but it's kind of what I like about these technique cards is I'm kind of just making a prototype. You know, sometimes I borrow someone's swap cards, or sometimes I design with an intent besides just doing a technique card, like, you know, to make a card for a class card. But a lot of times these technique cards are just 1 and 2 offs that, you know, I make the sample cards so you can see it, and then I make one or part of one live with you on the video. But really, oftentimes that's all that gets made from these technique videos. So it's kind of cool. They're kind of like prototype cards, and I like that because it gives me the opportunity to try something new, you know, decide if I really like it. A lot of times I do end up liking the technique more after I've done it than I thought I would or than I anticipated when I was researching. But it's a lot of fun. What do you guys think of Technique Thursday? Do you love it? Do you look forward to it? Is it something it's like must-see TV for you? Because I thoroughly enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing it for probably 1.5 years now. And it's something that I look forward to. It's always something I need to build into my schedule, figure out who's watching the kids, when I can come to the hive to do it, but it's always well worth it. As was stelling the whole background. I don't know if you're going to be able to catch even a glimpse of that, but wow, that really, really tied it all together. So there you have it. That is my technique for you this Thursday. It is called the Flowering Sunburst technique. And I hope you like it. So definitely leave a comment. Let me know what you feel. What you think of it, if you have any ideas or suggestions about how to elevate the card. And I hope you have a wonderful Technique Thursday, and you'll catch Chris later tonight for some live card making.